Howdy y'all and welcome. Hope you're staying cool out there as it has been a scorcher here as of late, and it's looking like we could be potentially getting some relief as we head into next weekend. As you can see, below normal temperatures are going to be expected as we head into August 2nd through a time frame. So we could be coming into some cooler temperatures here very soon, and it's going to be a relief for much of us here out east. Of course, if you hate the hot temperatures, but of course if you love the hot temperatures, you're just loving this stuff as long as you have the air conditioner, right? And as we take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook by the Climate Prediction Center, we can see from Wyoming into the northeast is going to be coming into some below normal temperatures, as well as over here by California and Nevada. But if you live from Arizona on over into the Carolinas and up here in the northwest, looking like it's going to remain above average. So there could be some relief from the heat here very soon. And it's going to last as well, as we can see here in the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Much of the eastern part of the country is coming into near normal to below normal temperatures, while much of the western part of the country is coming into a above average temperature trend, and this also includes Florida. Florida's not going to get any relief from the heat, and it's just miserable down there. It's going to remain miserable. And as we take a look at models here, at least for the temperatures, we can see today going to be 100 degrees all the way up into the Dakotas, and really it's going to be a scorcher for much of the lower 48. We know relief from the heat unless you live up here in the northeast, the upper elevations of the Smoky Mountains, and in the Colorado Rockies. And it's going to remain this way all the way past this weekend and all the way through Wednesday, and we could be getting some relief from the heat as we head into Wednesday into Thursday. And of course the kiddos are going to be heading back to school here very soon, and this is probably why it's going to be cooling down, because the kiddos are heading back. So if you love the heat, then you're hating the cool temperatures, but if you hate the heat, then it's going to be a relief for y'all. As it's looking like as we head into August, it's going to be very cool out east, and of course out west it's going to remain hot though. So the whole country ain't going to be experiencing a cool down, as the western part of the country is still going to remain in summertime heat, while the eastern part of the country is going to be cooling off. So speaking of fall, it's going to be feeling like fall here very soon, and we're 58 days away from fall time, y'all. Pumpkin spice drinks will be coming out before you know it. The leaves are going to be turning colors here very soon. And before you know it, we'll be seeing our first snowfall. And speaking of that, here's when we typically see our peak fall foliage dates, typically October into November time frame. And here's when our first freeze is right around that time frame as well. And our first snowfall is typically in early November, and occasionally some areas typically see it earlier than that, sometimes in October. I know it has snowed on Halloween before, but of course we're only at the end of July, y'all. We're not even close to October yet, but again, it'll be here before you know it. Time seems to fly by anymore. Now as we take a look at the apparent temperatures, it feels like it's going to be even hotter than that here for much of the central and eastern part of the country. It's going to be in the mid 100s for today, and even tomorrow it's going to be worse tomorrow. And of course on Monday, the muggy meter is going to be even worse than that. But don't worry though, we're going to be getting some relief as we head into potentially Wednesday and definitely into Thursday. It's going to be feeling like the mid 40s for much of us here in the Great Lakes and Northeast. So definitely going to be feeling like fall here very soon, y'all. But unfortunately, the western part of the country is still going to remain in this heat wave, and y'all are going to be shaking your heads at us here out east, and you're going to be jealous, and don't be hating. That's all I say, y'all. And we got to take a look at the dew points. This is the air that you can wear pretty much. And it's looking like that mugginess is just going to go away after we get past Wednesday and into Thursday, and definitely into next weekend. So some relief is going to be on the way as we head into next weekend, y'all. So definitely look forward to that. Unless you live out west, y'all are definitely going to be feeling the heat for quite some time, and they're not going to be getting any relief from it unless you live up here in the upper elevations of the Colorado Rockies. So now that we covered that we're going to be heading into a cooling trend as we head into the beginning of August, we're going to take a look at the precipitation outlook of what we could expect for the beginning of August. As you can see here on the 8 to 14 day U.S. hazards outlook, the southeast is heading into some heavy precipitation from the 2nd through the 3rd, with some flooding possible here by Nebraska all the way into Missouri. As we take a look at the severe weather outlook for the next couple of days, we got a slight risk today here from Wyoming and Montana all the way up into Minnesota, with a marginal risk down here from Missouri all the way into, with another slight risk over here by Pennsylvania down into Maryland. Now, there is a tornado threat today, 2% chance from Illinois up in Indiana, another one up by the Dakotas into Minnesota. Main threat's going to be high winds, and the low end threat for large hail up here in the Dakotas down into Wyoming and Montana all the way up into Minnesota. And as we head into Sunday, marginal risk zones here in the upper Midwest and parts of the Northeast. Small tornado threat over here in the Dakotas up into Minnesota, as well as the wind threat and a hail threat mainly over here in Minnesota area. And on good old Monday, Manic Monday, you're heading back to work and school. It's looking like a marginal risk is going to be in store. Montana down into Wisconsin. Of course, we don't know what the main threats will be just yet. I'll let you know on X and Facebook, of course. So basically, the next few days, going to be some severe weather, unfortunately. Could be some rumbles of thunder. I would expect just summertime thunderstorms, with today being what's called a ridge rider. Now, before we get into what that means, we got to take a look next 5 days after that. It's not look like any severe weather is going to be in store after that. But of course, can and will change. It is summertime. We typically get summertime thunderstorms this time of year. Now, to show you what this means, I know there was a viewer that asked about what troughs and ridges mean. A ridge is accompanied by drier and warmer weather in most cases, and a trough usually brings rain in summertime and thunderstorms, and occasionally with snow in the wintertime and cooler air with it as well. And as we push this forward, we got severe weather today here in the upper Midwest and over here by Montana. The reason behind that is because we have a trough and ridging pattern, and it's going to be riding that ridge, and it's going to bring a lot of flooding with it as well. As you can see, there is a slight risk for excessive rainfall here from Missouri up there into the northeast. And we can see how much rain is going to be occurring with this slight risk for excessive rainfall, mainly because of what's called a ridge rider. This is typically what we see in the summertime, is what's called ridge riders. Basically means that we're going to have persistent rain over the same area over and over, and it's looking like we could have upwards of 2 inches, possibly more in some areas. So definitely, if you see a flood redwood, turn around and don't drown, and just use your common sense. Live in a low-lying area, then please be aware of that as well. Of course, northeast, same story. Some areas could see 1 inch, some areas could see 2 inches or more. Get past Monday, it's looking like we're going to be in this ridging pattern, and it's looking like once we get into Wednesday into Thursday, there's going to be a trough coming down. And this is what's going to bring those cool temperatures down here into the eastern part of the country. And it's looking like it could last for quite some time. And this could bring a stormy pattern our way as well. We have a battle of the ridges and troughs. Usually if you have that battle, you have severe weather in most cases. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook by the Climate Prediction Center. We can see that most of the country is heading into an above average precipitation pattern, especially up here in the northwest, but it's looking like it's going to be dry up here in the Great Lakes and northeast, as we're going to have a trough rolling in, dropping those temperatures down as we head into the August 4th time frame. Cool and dry up here and wet for the rest of the country. Next 8 to 14 days looks much of the same story, but it's looking like more near normal precipitation is going to be expected here up here by the Great Lakes and the west central and southwest part of the country, with above normal precipitation expected here in the southeast, which is in alignment with what the Climate Prediction Center says here in the southeast, as there's a moderate risk issued for heavy precipitation from the 2nd into the 3rd. So let's go ahead and get into the models here. Now, we already know about the severe weather here in the northern plains and northeast, and the flooding going on here in the upper Midwest. And it's just going to be continuing for the next couple of days. And it's looking like the southeast is just going to be coming in on a lot of heavy rainfall. And it's looking like we could be coming into a severe weather pattern as we head into Thursday into Friday, as it's going to be cool here in the upper Midwest and hot here out west, as a ridge is going to be setting up out here and a trough is going to be setting up here, which is going to result in some severe weather potential here in the central and potentially here in the southern plains. And that's going to shift eastward as we head into August and further into August. And of course, we're heading into almost 300 hours out, heading into La La Land, but you can see that the reason why they issued below normal precipitation here, we head into the beginning of August, is because we're going to have a trough rolling in, dropping those temperatures down and drying it down a little bit. And we're going to have a ridge setting up here out in the central and western part of the country, and that's going to result in some ridge riders and some potential severe weather here in the central and southern plains. And that's going to shift eastward as we head into the middle of the month, where it's going to look like we're going to be in a very soggy pattern. Now, as far as the southeast goes, take a look at the national blend of models. We can see that the reason why they issued the moderate risk for heavy precipitation is because we're going to be coming in on 2 to 4 inches with locally higher amounts possible here in the Carolinas, down into Georgia, and really much of the southeast, including the Smoky Mountains as well. Some areas in the Smokies and down here by Cherokee could be coming in on almost 5 inches of rainfall, so definitely be aware of this. Live in those low lying areas. And down here in Louisiana, y'all are in the bullseye. 5 inches of precipitation possible because of tropical systems. And speaking of the tropics, we are heating up out there. They were monitoring a system down here in the Gulf, which is now dissipated, and it's not looking like any tropical activity is going to be expected in the next 7 days. I guess that's some good news. Definitely got to keep our eye out though. Eastern Pacific starting to heat up though. We could have Dexter forming here very soon. We have a 40% chance in the Eastern Pacific and a 60% chance as we head into the Central Pacific. So definitely got to keep an eye on that for Hawaii. As we take a look at the Pacific Basin first, we see those tropical cyclone formation chances out there according to the satellite. I don't think these are going to affect Hawaii any. You may get some rainfall from these. And the reason why I'm saying that is as we take a look at the sea surface temperatures out there, we can see definitely favorable sea surface temperatures here off the coast of Mexico and down here just south of Hawaii. But as we head into Hawaii, not very favorable. So if those tropical systems move more towards the north, they're going to weaken down a little bit and not impact Hawaii as strongly as it would as if y'all had these kind of sea surface temperatures. So that's some good news. And as we take a look at the GFS model, this is the long range model, but still a little bit reliable to use. And take a look at the simulated infrared, we can see those tropical cyclone formation chances. The one close to Mexico could form into something, as there is some favorable sea surface temperatures out there, but the one out here by Hawaii is going to fizzle out. Could potentially turn into a tropical depression at most, probably, and maybe bring y'all a lot of rainfall, but I don't think it's going to cause direct impacts. So that's some good news here in the short term. Long term, got to keep an eye out, though, for some systems impacting y'all, but of course y'all should always monitor systems out there by Hawaii anyways because we are in hurricane season. But I'm not worried about anything impacting y'all, so that's some good news here in the short term anyway. Now the Atlantic Basin, we did have some systems down here in the Gulf which have dissipated, mainly turned into big old rainstorms down there in the Gulf Coast states. And we can see these sea surface temperatures out there are still boiling. And the main development region is starting to heat up as well, so we could have systems forming here very soon out there. We are in the meat and potatoes of hurricane season. As we take a look at the satellite, we can see that system that they were monitoring out there has fizzled out and is turning into a lot of heavy rainfall down here in the Gulf Coast states. And we can see there's nothing really out there. I mean, we got to keep an eye on this region right here where tropical systems form. But it's not looking like anything's going to be forming at least in the next 7 days according to the National Hurricane Center, but that can and will change, and I'll keep y'all posted, of course. And as we take a look at the simulated infrared radar, we can see could have systems dissipating over the Caribbean islands down here, but not really concerned about anything at least in the next 7 days. We could have some formation as we head into Thursday, but after that, I don't think we're going to have much in the way of any sort of tropical systems affecting us in the long term, although the sea surface temperatures are starting to heat up here in the main development region and in the Gulf. But of course, I will keep y'all informed on X and on Facebook if anything does change. So basically, what I would expect here in the short term is we're going to be coming into some heat all the way into Thursday. Then as we head into next weekend, we're going to be heading into a cooling trend here out east. But of course, the western part of the country is not going to be feeling that, as you're all going to be still feeling the summertime heat out there. As we can see, the long term, you're all going to be feeling the summertime heat out there, while we're still going to be feeling like fall here out east. As far as precipitation goes in the short term, could be in a drying trend here in the Great Lakes and Northeast, but the rest of the country is heading to a very soggy pattern, as we are heading into a moderate risk for heavy precipitation here in the southeast, which could result in 2 to 4 inches with locally higher amounts possible, so definitely be aware of those. Use your common sense if you live in low-lying areas. And, of course, see a flooded roadway, turn around and don't drown. And in the long term, it's looking like much of the country is going to be near normal to above average. Now, if you did watch my August outlook, I did predict that we're going to be cool for the month of August for really much of the eastern part of the country and dry as well. And it's looking like it's going to hold true a little bit, at least here in the Great Lakes region. It's going to be dry and cool, while the rest of the country is heading into a very wet pattern. So this kind of will change. Keep y'all updated, of course, like Facebook. And as far as the tropics go, we have tropical activity here in the central and eastern Pacific, but I don't expect those to affect Hawaii any. Y'all may get some rain from it, heavy rain at that, but I'm not expecting direct impacts. As far as the Atlantic goes, could be some activity out there in the long term, but in the short term, I'm not expecting anything, although the Gulf is heating up drastically, so gotta keep your eye out. We are in the meat and potatoes of hurricane season, y'all, from August to October, typically peak hurricane season, so keep your eye out if you live in the Gulf Coast states and even down here off the coast of Mexico. Now, as a treat for staying this long into the video, I appreciate y'all, by the way. Here is what Hubble is observing. They are actually target category calibration, so they're calibrating their camera, it's looking like. And as far as the Webb telescope goes, they are looking at some high redshift galaxies in the distant universe. So that's pretty interesting. So it's looking like the Hubble telescope is undergoing some maintenance, looking like. And the Webb telescope is observing some distant galaxies. So I appreciate all y'all for watching. Please make sure you hit that like and share button. It helps more than you know. Leave us feedback in the comment section down below. See, any feedback helps provide you, the viewer, better and more informative content in the future. And also hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It's free, it helps the channel out, and it keeps you informed on what's coming up. So it's greatly appreciated. And hit the bell notification as well. Keep you notified. I know most of y'all probably don't get notifications because YouTube does some funny stuff with that. I'm not the only one that's saying this, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, bell notifications, because that here wins whether we try to make weather forecasting as fun and informative as possible for y'all. So basically, we're going to be trending cooler as we head into the beginning of August, so there's going to be some relief from the heat here very soon, y'all. We just got to get past Wednesday, and I think we're going to be in the clear, at least out east, but of course out west, it's looking like summertime heat is going to be taking hold of y'all out there. It is summertime, what else is new? But of course, this cool down may be because those kiddos are heading back to school, so you can blame the kiddos if you like the heat. So again, stay cool, stay dry if you're in the flood risks for the next few weeks, because there is a flood threat down here in the southeast. And until next time, I appreciate all y'all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video. And until next time, never stop forecasting.